there and welcome back to Coffee with Colin. It's been a while. Coffee with Colin was a feature before COVID struck in March of 2020 and the whole world went into a tailspin. And all of a sudden I found myself being locked down along with the rest of humanity and realized that my weekly inspiration for creating a Coffee with Colin episode was taken away from me because how those episodes came about was through me being out there in the marketplace and meeting people and having the chats and having cups of coffee and connecting ideas that people would drop into my orbit with ideas from somebody else. And so Coffee with Colin had become a thing for some years. And all of a sudden I realized I was in lockdown and I wondered what I would do. So I decided to pivot, that famous word that will forever be linked to COVID-19, decided to pivot. And what came from that was the Coffee at 11 show. And it started badly, like most things do. It started by me inviting a friend in for a cup of coffee virtually over Zoom like this. And I would interview him about his business. And we invited a handful of people in as a live audience to that event. And it worked reasonably well. The sound quality was terrible, the poor guy. Alan Andrews, forever indebted. But it started something. And I've always used that phrase, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly at first until such time as you can get to do it well. But I'm delighted to say that 112 episodes later of the Coffee at 11 show, wasn't even called the Coffee at 11 show on episode 1, but by episode 112, the Coffee at 11 show had been established as something that has gravitas and certainly contributed to my sanity and the sanity of others during those strange days of lockdown. Anyway, we're now back out in the world and I think it's time for Coffee with Colin to become a thing again. Another thing that happened to me in lockdown was the formation with my good friend and business partner, Michelle Barry, the formation of an organization called Wigwam, business called Wigwam. And Wigwam is an online coaching business. Wigwam itself is an acronym for Wonderfully Inspiring Goals, WIG, Wonderfully Inspiring Goals, WAM, Weekly Accountability Meeting. And that's exactly what it does. We invite people in, again, in a Zoom platform, in a Zoom space to work through a 10-step program over 10 weeks to help them get clear on who they are, what they stand for, where they're headed, and what contribution they and only they as individuals can make. And that's been a fascinating journey. And we've had more than 100 people join us on the Wigwam journey over the last 12 months or so. So I've decided to come back with Coffee with Colin now in the autumn of 2021, just to visit some of the ideas that have come to me and some of the lessons I've learned through lockdown and in particular through Wigwam. And the first of those is personal leadership. The very first thing is personal leadership. Some of you will be familiar with Stephen Covey's work. Stephen Covey, the late, great Stephen Covey, one of my all-time favorite thought leaders. And Stephen, his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People has sold 15 million plus copies. And the very first habit of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is be proactive. Be proactive, not reactive. So if you and I want to get stuff done in our lives, we must be willing to step forward and make it happen. It won't just happen on its own. And if there's one fundamental skill set that's lacking in the world today, as I see it from my vantage point, it is that willingness for people to be proactive, to step out and start something for whatever reason, myriad reasons, I'm sure, where they're afraid, what will people think? I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the skill set, whatever. But the starting point, go back to what I said earlier, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. One must start. You must start. If you're going to make a difference in your life and the lives of those around you, if you're going to leave a legacy, you must start. And I don't know what's rattling around your head in terms of an idea that you'd love to pursue, but for whatever reason you're holding back from it. I don't know what that idea might be. But if there's something in your heart, in your head, that you believe you should do something about, well then I'm inviting you now in the autumn of 2021 to begin the journey. Start. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Start. Be proactive. Take a step. And that step begins with personal leadership. And the whole Wigwam program is around personal leadership. But that first step begins with personal leadership because you won't have any hope of leading a team or your organization or your company or your family unless you're able to lead yourself first. So it starts with personal discipline and a relatively easy way. I don't like shortcuts, but the world seems to be hell-bent on life hacks and making life easy. Easier, perhaps, is a better word than easy. But as somebody also said, don't wish for things to be easier, wish for you, in fact, to be better. So one life hack, dare I say it, that I can offer to you is the 1% rule. When I wrote Feeding Johnny some years ago, my book, when I wrote Feeding Johnny some years ago, I had at the very start a tip for how people might get through it. And that was that they should read for 10 minutes or read 10 pages every day, and they'd get through it fairly quickly. And through the COVID experience and Wigwam online experience with my good friend and partner in Wigwam, Michelle Barry, she came up with this phrase, 1% living, which is basically 1% of your day is 14.4 minutes. 1% of your day is 14.4 minutes. The easiest way for us humans to round that off is 15 minutes, a quarter of an hour. It is possible for you or I to do anything for a quarter of an hour, and it won't kill us. So if you want to make some changes in your life, be proactive, as Stephen Covey invites. Be proactive and practice 1% living. Do something for 15 minutes each day. And the other thing that we've learned in Wigwam is win the week, win the war. If you want to make progress in your life, and I'll touch on this in the coming weeks, but win the week, win the war on apathy, win the war on stagnation, win the war on mindset. If you want to do anything, do it in the week, win the week. And the way to win the week is to do something for 4 days out of 7. 4 days out of 7 is a little more than halfway. You've won the week if you're proactive and you do something 4 days out of 7, and you do that something for 15 minutes, 1% living for 4 days. That's easy to do. I think you'd agree. That's easy to do. So you want to learn the guitar, play the guitar for 15 minutes per day for 4 days in the week, and you've begun to win the week around playing the guitar. You want to learn Spanish, do the same, 15 minutes for 4 days in the week, win the week, win the war. You want to build a business, start studying the principles around business leadership and business ownership for 15 minutes a day, 4 days a week, and you will begin the process of getting to where you want to get to. So over this series of the Coffee with Colin, we're going to just explore some of these ideas in more depth, but it starts with personal leadership. It starts with 1% living. It starts with you beginning to win the week and therefore win the war. And I invite you between now and next week to go win the week, win the war, practice 1% living in some area, and let me know in the comments below what area you're tackling. And thank you for joining me for this week's Coffee with Colin. I hope and trust as ever you got something from it. Please consider what's been shared here today and apply it into your thinking for this next week. And then really importantly, come back next week and we'll share another coffee together and I'll ruminate on some other aspect of life and business. Between now and then, get some great coffee for sure, get some fresh air, get some R&R. If you spend a lot of time alone, please go meet some people, even if that's online. If you spend too much time with people, please take some time out and get to meet yourself. And then when the time is right, and only when the time is right, get your head back in the game, get stuck in, make next week count. I'll see you here this time next week for another Coffee with Colin. Slán. I still love great coffee. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.